This story isn't about flat Earth, it's about how easily people can be persuaded, including you. Plymouth Coast, mid-19th century. A telescope is aimed at the horizon. Not to admire the sea, but to settle a question humanity already answered centuries ago, and somehow still argues about. Here's the thing, this story isn't really about the shape of the Earth. A lighthouse stands miles away, isolated against the sky. Between it and the observers lies something invisible. Not belief, not opinion, but geometry. On one side stand surveyors, navigators, sailors, men who've crossed hemispheres, men whose lives depend on understanding horizons. On the other side, one man. He doesn't use his real name. He calls himself Parallax, and that detail matters more than it seems. Parallax wasn't uneducated. He wasn't confused. He wasn't some harmless eccentric. He was articulate, he was confident, and most importantly, he understood audiences. That's where the danger starts. His real name was Samuel Birley Rowbotham, and his background is hard to verify. Not because records are missing, but because he told different stories to different people. In one version, he rejected Newtonian science as a child. In another, he discovered truth through pure observation. Notice the pattern? Every version makes him look independent. Rowbotham's reputation rested on a single claim, that he could see distant objects that should have been hidden by Earth's curvature. Frozen canals, bridges, flags miles away. To him, this wasn't an observation, it was proof. But here's where it falls apart. What he ignored or chose not to mention was atmospheric refraction, light bends, horizons shift, and this was already known in the 1800s. Simple reality. Complex explanations lose to simple stories. And simple stories spread faster. Now here's where it gets strange. Rowbotham didn't stop at astronomy. He pivoted to medicine. He claimed humans don't die from aging. They die from a gradual hardening of the body. His solution? Extreme diets, chemical supplements, and promises of extraordinary lifespan. Let that sink in. He wasn't a doctor, but he spoke like one. Confidence can sound a lot like authority. Victorian Britain loved lectures. Education was entertainment. Debate was spectacle. Rowbotham understood this perfectly. He framed scientists as elites, mathematics as imagination, and belief as courage. He stayed calm, he stayed polite. Meanwhile, his opponents grew frustrated, and audiences mistake calmness for correctness all the time. Eventually, Parallax was challenged by real navigators and scientists. A public test was arranged. Clear predictions, clear calculations. The lighthouse experiment. This was supposed to end it. The result? The lighthouse was more hidden than predicted, meaning Earth's curvature was real and stronger than expected. In other words, science won. Parallax lost. But that's not how the crowd saw it. He turned to them and declared victory anyway. Because here's the trick. If experts are even slightly wrong, then everything they say can be dismissed. Soon after, he published his manifesto. It sold well, not because it was accurate, but because it was confident. Some readers laughed, some were curious, some felt validated. Misinformation doesn't need truth. It just needs momentum. Rowbotham eventually died. Not immortal, not proven right. But his method survived. Change the medium, keep the strategy. Lecture halls became YouTube. Applause became algorithms. This story isn't about flat Earth. It's about persuasion. Because with the right tone, the right framing, and the right enemy, you can convince people of almost anything. Even that the world beneath their feet isn't round. And that's the part worth remembering.